this is Dani with Summer Skye Gardens. So today I am taking care of a lot of projects, one of which being I just got a ton of mum cuttings in. So I'm going to be growing them in grow bags. So I thought I would show you how they look, how I'm doing it, and give you a couple of tips if you want to try growing mums for cut flowers this year. So I know when you normally think of mums, you think of like those giant balls that you buy from your local nursery in the fall. You put it on your porch, you forget about it, you forget to water it, and eventually it dies a slow, dry, painful death. Now I will say if you keep it watered and you deadhead it, it will keep growing and get bigger and beautiful every year. I have actually planted a couple of mine in my front landscaping, and right now they're blooming in the springtime. But the ones that I'm talking about today are heirloom chrysanthemums for cutting. So they get big and bushy. They have long stems that you can cut to actually use in bouquets and arrangements. And the flowers are all different colors, all different shapes. Some of them get really, really big. I started growing these last year and I was very impressed with them. They did great. I overwintered them and they did great. So I think this would be a really good alternative for that big and bold dahlia type of flower for here in the south. Dahlias are hard to grow down here just because it's hot and humid, but the mums have done really well. So I think this would be a good alternative. They're both gonna kind of bloom in the late summer and into the fall. These are gonna probably bloom a lot later or longer and later, but we'll see. I'm growing a ton of new varieties this year. I'm gonna have close to 100 plants, so I'm super, super excited. Let me show you what I got. So I'm sourcing my mum cuttings from 3 different places. There's 3 Porch Farms, Wildrye Farm, and King's Mums. King's Mums is probably one of the biggest suppliers in the US. The other ones are certainly, good sized farms, but a lot smaller. So I've just been trying to get my hands on a lot of different varieties. And I will say all the cuttings that I've received from each place, they all look great and they all look very similar. So I don't think that there's any one that's particularly better. I think it's just a matter of what variety do you want and how much you want to pay. Let me show you, I got a big box yesterday from King's Mums. So these are the little cuttings that they send out. They're all very well labeled. You're gonna wanna order these and plant them in the springtime. Let me take this out. So this is what it looks like. It's just a little baby plant. This is a branch cutting that they took off the mother plant and rooted, and this is what you'll receive in the mail, and then you just plant it. You can grow these in ground, you can grow them in raised beds, you can grow them in pots or grow bags like I'm doing. In most areas, especially in a warmer climate, they will perennialize. So when the winter comes, what's typically recommended is you just cut the plants down to less than 6 inches. Some people will actually go put them like in the garage if they're in a portable like pot, or just kind of leave them be. If you're gonna have a hard freeze, you want to cover them, but if not, you can just leave them alone, mulch them, and they will overwinter. You don't need to water them or fertilize them, just kind of leave them alone. This year I had mine in grow bags, and we had one hard freeze in December. I covered them for a few days, and otherwise I did not mess with them, and now they're starting to regrow and they're looking really, really good. So plant these now. They will grow kind of throughout the summer, start to bloom based on your climate anytime in the summer to the fall or later fall, and they will get super bigger and bushier, but this is what they look like. So let's take some of these cuttings. I'm gonna go put them in my grow bags and I'll show you how my setup looks. Okay, so here you can see I have already put in some of the mum cuttings. These are the ones that I just brought out here. These are grow bags. I got them off Amazon. I'll link them below. These are 5 gallons and they're 12 inches across, which is plenty of room for the moment, and possibly for their whole growing life. So all I'm gonna do is I'm putting in a label into each bag. Gotta keep track of which one is which. Now obviously you want to grow mums in a sunny area. They like a lot of sun. This is just a temporary holding spot for the moment until I move them. So I'm just gonna take out the little babies. I like to just kind of loosen up the root ball a little bit and just kind of firmly tuck it down in here. And then once I get all these planted, I'm gonna come in and give them a good drink of water. I would say mums, they need, you know, a decent amount of water, especially in the heat. What they do need a lot of is fertilizer. They are heavy feeders. You can kind of think of them like roses. So you're gonna wanna come in and feed them just a balanced fertilizer. I like to use fish emulsion about once a week. And if you do that, it will definitely help them grow really, really well. Another thing you wanna do based on the variety is pinch them. So a couple weeks after planting, you want to let them get a little bit of growth, maybe about 6 inches, and then come in and pinch them, and that will cause them to branch from the bottom and just get a lot bushier and get you more blooms. One other thing, which I'm gonna try this year. So last year I just grew like spray mums, but this year I have some varieties that'll give you individual stems. And in order to get bigger flowers, you want to disbud. So when you start to see a stem coming up that has a few buds on it, based on that variety, if you know it's one of those singular bigger mums, then you want to take off all but one bud on that stem, and it will get bigger and produce a much bigger flower. Now you don't have to do that. If you want to leave them all, you can. They will just be a lot smaller, but then you'll have several on one stem. So I think it's kind of up to you. I think what I'm going to do is try disbudding on some, not disbudding on others, and just see what the difference looks like. But this is basically how I'm going to be growing them throughout the year. Just keep them watered, and then you know, keep them fed. And like I said, I'll be moving them to a much more sunny location. All right, I am all done, at least for now. It took me a couple of hours to bag everything up, but let me show you the final product. So here we are. Got a bunch right here. Bunch along this back fence, and a big chunk right here. Like I said, this is kind of their temporary holding location, because we'll need a spot where they get more sun. Although right now this side's starting to get sun. As the sun goes over, this side will get sun. Let me show you to the front. So I have some up here. These ones here in the front were already planted. And then these are some I just did. I really like these copper labels in this marker. I'll link this below as well, because these don't fade. I've been using them last couple of years. I love them. So here you go. Here's the little cutting. And I'll just be keeping a close eye on them for now. And stay tuned to my Instagram, and I'll show you guys some updates over the summer on how everything is growing. And I have to show you real quick. This is one of my mums that I potted up from last year. It's a really lovely, like almost like hot pink color. Now I don't use this for cutting. I kind of just use it for decoration, as well as I like to dry the flowers. They dry really pretty, and I put them on some pumpkins in the fall and sold those, and they did really good. All right, so obviously I'm inside now. I got all cleaned up, and I wanted to show you guys the mums that I am growing this year. So I printed off a master sheet with all the pictures. I like to have pictures to reference since I'm kind of newer with these, and I don't just remember them off the top of my head what they look like. I do this with my mums as well as my dahlias. And I'll just kind of put this up in my office. But there's basically 13 different types of mums, and it's all based off the shape of the flower and kind of how the flower grows. So I might be hitting all of them, but I definitely have a lot of different variations. So let me put up pictures of all the ones I'm growing, And then, like I said, stay tuned to my Instagram this summer, and I will be showing all about how they're growing, how they're looking, as well as cutting them and using them in arrangements. So thank you guys for tuning in today, and I will see you in my next video.
So